My name is Erin, and I started this channel because I want to help people like me who are in recovery from an eating disorder or any other mental health illness, really, to develop a daily journaling habit that will help them heal. Let me just start off by saying I'm not a mental health professional. Anything you hear me talk about in my videos is based on my own experience. This is episode 3 of the Starting Your Journaling Practice series, and today we're going to talk about nesting or rituals. Why does this matter, you wonder? Well, in my opinion, if you have some rituals around your journaling practice, it's going to feel more natural for you to want to do it every day. It's going to feel like part of your daily routine, and that'll help you have more success with making sure that you stay grounded in that habit for the long term. How are we going to develop some rituals? Well, that all depends on you. There's a lot of different things to consider when you're setting up your nest. I call it my nest. It's the place that I most like to sit down and journal. Of course, it's not possible for me to sit down and journal in my nest every single day because sometimes I find myself not at home. But when I'm at home, there's one place I like to go. I like to sit, relax, and just zone out and get connected with my thoughts. Your nest could be a safe space, a space where you feel like nobody is going to be seeing you or judging you or interrupting you. You need to kind of find a place where you feel like you can just be with yourself alone and get quiet. Ironic that we're talking about getting quiet and being alone, and there's craziness going on in my house as I film this. So if you hear some background noise, it's my life. So how do you find your safe space? Well, your safe space could be the place where you like to read. It could be your favorite chair. It could be a favorite place in your yard. It could be in front of your favorite window that you like to look out at the world through. It could be a place in the woods if you like to spend time in nature. I hear it's really good. I'm an indoor kind of girl myself, but I hear outdoor people really like to be outdoors. You need to be able to go to this place to get quiet and try to eliminate distractions. So part of the journaling process is turning inward so that you can connect with your thoughts and your feelings and sit with them, as uncomfortable as that may be sometimes. I know for me, sometimes it's really hard. And implementing all of these kind of ritualistic things around journaling is helpful. It doesn't always work still, but it is definitely helpful in making sure that I actually take the time to sit down and write in my journals or draw in my journals. So when I say no distractions, I mean no screens. I mean, if you're supposed to be journaling right now, turn this video off and watch it later when it's not journaling time. No screens means turn off the TVs, turn off your phone, hide the remotes, put them away out of reach. When I say turn off the phone, I mean turn it off. Like, don't even have it turned on. So if you're like me, you never really quite get all the notifications turned off or silenced fully unless the phone is off. Because it still blings when I don't want it to bling sometimes, unless I turn it off. So turn it off, put the remotes away, get yourself distraction free. Not everybody has a solitary lifestyle. Some do, some don't. If you find yourself in a living situation where you have roommates or family members running around, you're gonna wanna ask them just to give you some time with some quiet. If you're in a space that you can hear each other from room to room, of course we can't ask them to be completely silent because that's not always reasonable. But you're going to want to let them know what you're doing and that you just need some quiet for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever amount of time you've set aside for your journaling practice. Let them know what you're doing and ask them if they can try to keep it down during that time. Another great tip is if you have small children, it can be really, really challenging for you to give yourself that time. But like I mentioned in my last video, I think it's really important for us to show kids that it's important to put themselves first as well. There's all kinds of demands on your time nowadays, more than there was even when I was raising my kids. And it's just getting worse and worse. So to have them watch you step away from everything and spend some time on your own, even if it's just 10 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, they're going to learn that their own personal care is also important, and they'll start to emulate that, which is I think, a great thing to teach your kids. So another suggestion that you might be able to utilize if you do have small kids that have a difficult time leaving you for a certain number of minutes every day is to take that phone that I just told you to turn off. Don't turn it off. Instead, set a timer on the phone and leave it in the other room with wherever the kids are hanging out while you're alone journaling. Leave the timer running in the other room. Let the kids know that when the timer goes off, if they really need mom or dad or auntie or uncle or whatever your role may be, when the timer goes off, they really need you, they can then come and get you, but that you're not to be interrupted until the timer goes off. That will enable you to journal for, a specific amount of time. And if they're comfortable, which probably will happen some days and might even get better as time goes on, if they're still comfortable and they don't feel like they need you, then you can still spend extra time journaling. You can sit and do it until you feel like you've gotten everything out that you need to get out. But it's just a way to kind of respect their needs and also respect your need to spend some time getting grounded as well. Journaling is a form of self-care. So you're going to want to make sure that you set yourself up in a space and you make yourself feel calm and relaxed so that you can really spend some time thinking about what it is that you're feeling and what you've been going through, and reviewing past journal entries. To do that, there's a lot of different things that you could turn to in order to soothe yourself. I love fuzzy blankets, so you might want to cozy up in your favorite chair with a fuzzy blanket and your journaling stuff. That's a great thing. If you love candles, I know a lot of people who will burn a candle while they're journaling. I asked a friend of mine, Janet, to recommend some really calming essential oils for me. Everybody pretty much knows that lavender is kind of the go-to calming oil. I'm not a huge flower scent person, so I do use it from time to time, but I'm not drawn to the floral scents. So I asked her for some alternatives, and she let me know that cedar wood, I gotta read this, make sure I get it right, cedar wood and bergamot are also oils that can be used to help you calm. So if you're into diffusing, you might try some of those. I know I had bergamot in my car for a while, and it was fantastic. I tell you, I never got road rage. You set yourself up with a favorite drink. I'm a coffee lover, so I will make myself a cup of coffee and sit down to journal with my cup of coffee. Actually, I prefer that over the blanket, but again, to each their own. Everyone's going to like something different and find something a little bit different to be soothing. Okay, let's talk about noise. So some people find music helpful to calm them and center them, but I find if I'm trying to write, if I'm trying to actually verbalize in words in my journal, I find it difficult to do when there's music, because I can't not hear the lyrics of the songs that I'm listening to. And then I find it difficult to actually get words out because there's just too many words. So I like to listen to either just instrumental, but more often lately I've been listening to ambient noise while I'm journaling. And I started that habit because I was looking for something besides music. I found that I really like I had been doing some doodling while I was in a cafe. I would go to my favorite cafe and draw while I sat and sipped my coffee. And I found it really soothing, the noise. So I found a cafe ambient noise recording, and sometimes I will listen to that while I'm journaling, which is super fun because I get the experience of the sounds of the cafe without actually feeling like I'm being watched while I write my feelings out, if that makes any sense. Some people prefer the sound of a stream. Again, there you go, you outdoors people might want to listen to a stream. I also like listening to thunderstorms. Yeah, I find them really soothing. So I've found crazy stuff too, like the sounds from the bridge of the Star Trek ship. So you can find just about anything, and if you go to YouTube, of course, it's all going to be free. Fair warning though, when you're listening to some ambient noise soundtracks on YouTube, there will be interruptions from ads. So if your journaling practice goes for more than just a few minutes, you might want to look for some apps to help you with the ambient noise if you want to try that out. Speaking of apps and noise, we're back to that issue of the phone, because if you're going to use your phone to run an app for ambient noise, that means your phone's going to be with you. So you can look for ways on your phone. I'm not going to walk you through how to do it because, as I mentioned before, I don't know how to do it properly either, but look for ways on the internet or your in-house tech guru, whoever you turn to for all your help with your phone, and get them to show you how to turn all of the notifications and everything off so that you can still listen to that ambient noise. I would also recommend, if you have other people in your space near you while you're journaling in another room or what have you, to use earbuds. So yeah, pop the earbuds in. They will double as earplugs so that you also aren't affected by any noises that other people are making around you. If you're not going to listen to music, you might consider earplugs. I know, sounds super rude. It's not super rude, just to help you muffle some of the auditory inundation of everybody else's living. Not gonna get into a whole bunch of detail about color, but I will tell you this. Fun fact. Blue is scientifically proven to be the most calming color. So if you want to try experimenting with some color theory, you can try surrounding yourself with blue things, or find a room that is a nice soothing blue hue. You'll notice the wall here. My fireplace downstairs is a nice calming blue color. So keep in mind that it might be a little bit uncomfortable for you to spend this kind of time on yourself. That's okay. It'll get better. Remember, we're developing a habit. We're putting things in place to make it easier for you to develop that habit. It takes some time, and it's going to take some patience, and there's going to be successes, and there might be some not so successful days. But you just got to keep going and remember that this time for you is important. In today's day and age, there are so many demands on your time. I know I mentioned this before, but I can't stress it enough. You cannot fill other people's cups if your pitcher is empty. So this is going to be your time to refill your pitcher so that you can then go out and make sure everybody else's cups that you care about are nice and full. Great things to remember when you're journaling. From me to you. Always remember that your past does not have to be your future. There's always something to be learned from every experience that we go through, and that includes the experience of developing a daily journaling habit. So if you can spend a little bit of time on your journaling for today, and then sometimes once in a while, go back and look through past entries that you've written in your journal. Consider what was happening in your life when you wrote that entry. Consider what you said in that entry, and maybe spend some time, just a couple of minutes, thinking about how those two things might be connected and what might have changed for you since then. I'll be talking more in the next video about activities that you can do in your journal. You're also going to want to click the big red button that says subscribe so that you get notified every time I post a video. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's number 3 in a series of 5, so there's 2 more of this one coming at ya. And if you subscribe, you'll get a notification when I post that and you won't miss anything. Also, fun fact, did you know I have a blog? I know, I'm not a writer, but I have a lot to say. So I started a blog, and you can find it on my website. The link to that is in the description for this video. Thanks so much for spending some time with me today, and we'll see you for video number 4.